And guys, let me just tell you guys, I am out here promoting Namibia. It's not even a joke, you guys. Like, I am so proud to be from Namibia, but I've also realized during my travels that people actually love Namibia. People actually love Namibia. Beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, you're very welcome. I'm Roha and I'm from a beautiful country called Namibia. For those of you who don't know, Namibia is a country in Southern Africa, and if you've not heard about it, this is definitely your chance to look it up. So in today's video, I will be giving you guys some really amazing information. I know you guys have been missing me, and to be honest, I do want to be here. It's just that when you're traveling, sometimes you get so caught up with traveling, walking, experiences, meeting people and so forth. And the worst case scenario is when you don't even have good Wi-Fi. Most of the hostels I've stayed in do have Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi is just not good enough to post a YouTube video most of the time, so it's so sad. And data is just so expensive. For me, it's so expensive. So I mostly only use my data for Google Maps and WhatsApp for the most part. Right, but that is not what we're here to talk about today. Today I'll be sharing with you guys some good news on, I don't know how I did my bun, you guys. I hope it still looks okay. I don't know how to make a proper bun, but yeah, let's just settle for that for now. Right, so today we are talking about accommodation, how to get either free or cheap accommodation while traveling through Europe. I know this is a major concern for like most travelers, and I can understand why, because Europe is definitely not that cheap. But I do have to say it's sort of okay, and I think it's really because I'm from Namibia. Namibia is not that cheap either. I remember there's been some countries that I've been to where I really felt like the price difference is not that different from Namibia, right? Especially when I'm looking at like, let's say, restaurant prices, grocery shop prices. The prices for me were just kind of like the same. I didn't really feel a difference. So there were countries like that, and I'll definitely dive deeper into that in other videos. And I'll be sharing more tips with you guys on how to save costs in other dimensions. But today we're focusing on accommodation. So I have to say that for me, there are actually 4 things that I would consider as my main expenditures while traveling. And that will be, number 1, accommodation, 2, transport, 3, food, and 4, activities. So these are the 4 things that I'll be sharing on my channel in different videos, so that you guys don't actually get confused. But today we are talking about accommodation, because the question is really, guys, where are you going to sleep? This is so important. Where are you going to sleep? You don't want to be that person traveling and you're not sure if you're going to be able to afford accommodation and the likes of, right? So accommodation is what we are focusing on today. Okay, right. Number one, the accommodation I've used the most whilst traveling, and I'm a budget traveler, so I cannot give you guys advice on like 5-star hotels and luxury hotels, because I'm not a luxury traveler. I am just a budget traveler. I do not have that kind of money to travel luxury, right? So and I wonder if I did, if I would actually, I'd probably do it like once in a while, but I still don't think like if I had so much money, I would be staying like in luxury hotels all the time. I don't think so. But that's just me, right? That's just me. I love budget travel because there's just so much included in the budget traveling, right? That you wouldn't otherwise experience if you were, for example, stay in a luxury hotel. And I remember when I was living in Asia, right? Every time I went to Indonesia, and I've been to Indonesia a lot of times, it is definitely one of my favorite countries. It's so beautiful. I had so many friends there. There were days my friends would just like call me and say like, hey, we miss you and stuff. And I'd be like, okay, cool. Since it's a weekend, once I'm done at campus, I'll come right over. So that's how much I used to like go to Indonesia just randomly, because it was cheap. Flights were really cheap. Those days we used to get like return tickets for like 700 Namibian dollars. Like it was that cheap. It was that cheap, you guys. It's not the same anymore, but yeah. So yeah, when I still go to Indonesia, Indonesia has very cheap hotels. Even like luxury hotels, in my opinion, were very cheap. And I still prefer to stay in budget hostels just because of what you get. Like you get to meet so many people, you get to like have such a great experience, travel with other people, and just make friends for life. So that's the reason why I actually, you know, stopped staying in like hotels, because that's what I started doing when I started traveling in Indonesia. And then I switched to like staying in budget accommodations like travelers hostels, which is I think such a nice experience for me, especially considering that I was much younger. So yeah, anywho, so number one, you guys, number one, if you're traveling, whether it's in Europe or Asia or Africa or anywhere, I would highly recommend that you stay in a traveler's hostel. For those of you who don't know, a traveler's hostel is just what it is. It's a hostel, except it's not a student hostel, it's a traveler's hostel. So you get to share a room with other people, and you get to choose what you want online, right? You get to choose whether you want to share a room with 8 people, 4 people, 5 people, 6 people, 10 people. Depends on the setup of the hostel itself. I cannot say, right? But each hostel is different. Some of them offer rooms that only, host 6 people in a room, or 4 people in a room, or 10 people in a room. It depends, you guys. So a hostel, you get to share like a room with other people. You get to share common areas such as the living room or the kitchen, etc. Now, I would recommend that you stay in a traveler's hostel because obviously it's cheaper than staying in a hotel, right? Now in Europe, I found that a lot of hostels actually cost between €15, 1.5, and above. So they can go all the way to €30, 25, 20, 40. It depends on which country you're in. But if you're like in countries like, let's say for example, Slovakia or even Hungary or Czech, you'd expect that hostels are much cheaper. But if you're like in other countries, like let's say Scandinavian countries, hostels are actually more expensive. You can even pay €80 for a hostel or €100, right? So, but your number one preferred kind of travel or accommodation is definitely a traveler's hostel. And guys, I can tell you so many stories from hostels. I love staying in hostels, and especially when you're traveling alone, it's so nice because you get to like make friends with people in your room. You get to travel with them. You get to ask advice and recommendations. I can tell you guys, like, I had the most nicest experience when I went to Austria. The hostel where I stayed, right? As soon as I arrived, 5 minutes later, a girl from the UK was like, "Hey, I can see you're new here. We're all going, so the lot of us are gonna go around and just like sit down and chat and have some drinks and whatever. Would you like to join us? I think you should." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And then I put down my bag, freshen up real quick, and we were out of there. And I remember we even made a funny video because we were 12, so we were making a video and just laughing at how we were 12 people going to a restaurant together, right? And it was so nice. We got to sit down, just chat, laugh, get to ask each other about each other's countries and get to know more. You know, people ask you like, "Where are you from?" "I'm from Namibia." "Oh, Namibia." They tell you things that they know about Namibia or things that they want to know about Namibia, and you get to tell them. And guys, let me just tell you guys, I am out here promoting Namibia. It's not even a joke, you guys. Like, I am so proud to be from Namibia, but I've also realized during my travels that people actually love Namibia. People actually love Namibia. The day I left Namibia, I met a girl from Morocco on the same flight, and she was like, "Oh my goodness, we've been traveling all around the world and Namibia is in my top 5 favorite countries. And Namibia is so clean. It is so clean." And she asked me, "Have you been to Morocco?" "Girl, have you been to Morocco? Morocco is dirty. Like, Namibia is so clean. You should be proud to be from Namibia." And now I'm like out there like, "Hey guys, yo, hi, I am proudly Namibian, you guys." Like, there's so much to brag about Namibia, despite like the problems that we have, you guys. I've been in countries where I felt like, Namibia is the one. Anyways, that's besides the point, you guys. So number one, hostels, right? Hostels, because they are cheaper than hotels, cheaper than Airbnbs, and just affordable. I'm crying real tears, you guys, because what you'd pay for a hostel in Europe is kind of like what you can pay for a hotel in Asia. And the Asian hostels are so nice. They're so beautiful. In Europe, for the most part, they're just basic. Some are below basic, but you're just a traveler. You don't really spend much time in the hostel anyway. You just come there to sleep. Like, most of the time, I only come to the hostel to sleep. So yeah. And the benefit of staying in the hostel as well is that you can cook. You can cook, which allows you to really save costs, you guys. If you eat out of restaurants all the time, you are going to waste your money. Buy basic stuff, eggs, bread, blah, blah, blah. Make yourself some cheap sandwiches, honey. There is a kitchen. These kitchens usually have microwaves. They usually have stoves. They've got refrigerators, so you can refrigerate your stuff. Buy yourself some juice from the shop and just keep it in the fridge. It will be much cheaper than you going to drink one glass outside of the restaurant. can get like a box of juice for like what, €2, 1.5 euro. So that's what I'm saying. Buy yourself food and use the hostel for that. Right. Number 2 is couch surfing. Now we're going into like the free stuff, the free accommodation, couch surfing. Okay, we'll talk about that later. Couch surfing is basically, for those of you who don't know, I've been on couch surfing for the longest time here. I've been on couch surfing since 2019, but I stopped because I had a stalker. Right. So couch surfing is really nice. That's actually how I met my best friend. She's from Greece. We've now been friends for over 3 years. So I hosted them during the pandemic, and we stayed together for a really long time, for what must have been like 2 months or so. And then we've been friends since then, and we've met up several times since then. I was actually supposed to visit her in Greece, but I don't think I'll be able to do that this summer, so that will be another time. Right? So couchsurfing is an app where you can basically host people, or you can be hosted. And I'm so happy to see that there are actually some Namibians who use couchsurfing in Namibia to host travelers. So guys, if you don't know about couchsurfing, just look it up. And another thing I have to say though, don't go and say Roha said I should use couchsurfing. You're an adult, and it's entirely your responsibility to make sure that the host you choose is a reasonable host. I'm a girl, and I honestly recommend women to only surf with women. Don't request to stay with men. Something about it just doesn't feel good. But in a case where you should stay with a male host, I would say read the reviews, because on couchsurfing you cannot delete reviews, and people that stay with those people usually leave reviews on how they felt being with that host at their house, right? So there are some hosts on couchsurfing that have, for example, 100 reviews, 150 reviews, 200 reviews, and I would say that is a lot. So if you're looking into staying with a male host, that host has to have at least 100 reviews, in my opinion, or like 80, 70. That's a good number, because you can see like how many people have actually stayed there and how many people would actually stay again. So at the end of the video, I'll show you guys like a brief overview of how the site looks and how it works, so that you guys can just like have a general idea. So number 2 is couchsurfing. And on couchsurfing, you actually request to stay with a host. If the host accepts you, and always read the reviews like I said, then you can go and stay there for free. You don't actually pay. That is not how couchsurfing works. You don't pay to stay with your host. This year, I've hosted quite a number of people because I started hosting again. And I have to say, they were really, really nice guests. I hosted a girl from Canada. She was so nice. She even left me a card. I hosted a girl from Taiwan with her husband or boyfriend, I'm not sure, but they were really, really, really nice. Like I hosted several people, but these are the ones I can think of right now. Okay, and then always remember to be respectful to your host, obviously. And for me, I have like a pack of cards, so I've written so many thank you cards to people during my travel in Europe. I've left my host's travel thank you cards. I've left people that I felt were so amazing cards as well. I remember I met someone, a really nice girl. I also gave her a thank you card because she just helped me so much during my travel. So yeah, I also think, having a bunch of thank you cards in your bag will go a long way while you're traveling, because there's just going to be so many people that you want to say thank you to. Right, let's make the world wonderful. So let's quickly type couchsurfing. Once you type couchsurfing, you'll be brought to the home page. So let's just click X here, and then basically this is the front page. So you just have to like sign up. So put your name, surname, email, password, and then join couchsurfing. And you can also click here how it works, so that you can have like a brief overview of how couchsurfing works. This app is really simple to use. So once you're in the app, you'll be able to just navigate the page easily, and you'll be able to search for a host in a particular country that you're visiting. Right, number 3, you guys, is actually HelpX. HelpX is a website where you can actually go on. You can, as farm stays, hostels, hotels, I think even cruises and stuff like that. So you basically work in exchange for accommodation and food. You just have to read the terms and conditions that are listed there. Again, I'll show you guys how it works, right? So that you guys understand how it works. Okay. The last one, which is number 4, is Workaway. Workaway is pretty much similar to HelpX. You basically work in exchange for food or accommodation, and you can stay with thousands and thousands and thousands of families. However, I found and obviously you can read the reviews of the families as well. I'm not really okay, let me show you guys how it works first.
Right, so let's get into how these websites actually work. So we're going to go to HelpX first. You can see there's find hostels, register as a helper, menu, about us, etc. So once you get to the home page, you will see that these are some of the volunteers' pictures, and it's actually written in bold that it's a cultural exchange. So going down to the bottom, it says here, welcome to HelpX. So we're going to read the information just to understand clearly what they do. So HelpX is an online listing of host organic farms, farm stays, hobby farms, lifestyle blocks, homestays, ranges, lodges, backpackers, hostels, and even sailing boats who invite volunteers, helpers to stay with them for short-term exchange for food and accommodation. So basically it's primarily for cultural exchange or for working holiday makers who just want the opportunity during their travels abroad to stay with people and gain practical experience, right? So they also tell you here that obviously you can stay, some hosts actually require you to work for 2 days for accommodation only, and then you need to cook your own food, and others may actually require you to work for 6 hours a day, and then you get other benefits such as free internet, horse riding, kayaking, bike sightseeing, etc. You guys, this is so exciting. And then here volunteers, right, can register for 2 types of membership. So you can register for the free membership or premier membership, so depending on what you want. So join now. You can actually read about the memberships before you can actually apply. So register as a helper or a host. So obviously you want to be a helper, so click on register as a helper. Now on the next page, you will then be able to sort of okay, first let's just quickly go through this again. This is just about the membership and the benefits you get according to the type of membership that you choose. And the premium membership is actually 20 euros for 2 years, and you can be able to read reviews and contact all kinds of hosts, whereas the free membership might actually be more limited. Then on the next page, you can see the helper rules. So it is very, very important that you actually go through these rules so that you will be able to understand what people actually expect from you in exchange for what you want, which is basically accommodation and probably food and other benefits, right? So declaration here, you are supposed to be 18 years and older to be able to be on HelpX, and then you can click on register. And then on the next page, you can click or enter your personal information, so your profile details. And guys, let me just say, like, take your time to fill up this profile, because as a person, let's say if I'm a host, I would want to read a very nice profile and just be encouraged to like choose you as my helper. And then you can create your account and then go ahead and choose your hosts, write the messages, etc. Right, the next one we are going to look at is Workaway. Like I said, these two are very, very similar. So Workaway, basically, there are a lot of hosts, thousands and thousands of hosts that you can choose from. So the first thing, let's just go to the first page, travel differently, connect globally. So this is like discover 50,000 opportunities, and you can also connect with other travelers and find your perfect host. So under hosts, right, you can see here, there are hosts from Indonesia, and they tell you help us, for example, in our school and get immersed in our culture in Indonesia. You can see Norway, Nepal, Greece, they're all different kinds of hosts from different countries. So this is Workaway. So just choose, we want to sign up as a couple or 2 friends, that's $59 per year. Or if you are a single person, then that's $49 per year. So if you guys are actually 2 friends, that's $59, which is really good. And if you're alone, then it's $49, right? So that's about it, you guys. Read all the information and join now. That is how you can travel and get accommodation for free.
So personally, what are my favorites? I would say hostels, number one, because you are staying by yourself. You stay in a hostel, you can decide when to come back, you can decide what to do, when to sleep, when to wake up. It's just like you being you, right? That's why I prefer hostels, although you need to pay for it. That's my favorite, and that's the one that I've used the most, because I just feel like I love my freedom, and staying with people is just, I cannot, like, I can barely breathe staying with people.
For some reason I could not insert this within the video.
The second one would be couchsurfing, because, but then if I were to stay with the host, I would probably stay for like 2 days, 3 days at most, because I just feel like staying with people for too long is not my kind of thing. But they are really nice hosts, you guys.
At the top,
like,
you can see it's cultural exchange.
Not to brag, I'm a nice host. So every person that has stayed with me has loved staying with me. And personally, I can host someone for like a week. I don't mind at all. Like I told you guys, guys, I hosted my best friend.
Farm stays.
Before I even knew her,
farms,
she was just
lifestyle
a couch
blogs,
surfer.
homestays, ranges,
Hosted
lodges,
her for almost
backpackers,
2
hostels,
months,
and
if
even
not more.
sailing boats.
And I did not mind.
So
That
they
was a
invite
lot, but
volunteers
like
to stay with them
it's
short
because
term
of
in
like
exchange
how
for
we
food and
click.
accommodation.
But like for
And
other
basically
travelers, I don't mind
it's
hosting even for like
primarily
a
for
week
cultural
because
exchange and for
I
holiday
am a very like relaxed
makers
person. If you stay
who
in
would
my
like the
house,
opportunity
you have your
to,
freedom.
stay
You
abroad
like I
during
don't
their
care what you
stay,
do, where you
and
go, what time you
just
come back, whatever the case.
some
Just
hostels
do
may
you,
require just 2
eat
hours
whatever
per
you want,
day
rest,
for
relax, take
accommodation,
shower,
or ask you to
blah blah
provide
blah.
your
I
own
don't care.
cooking, or others
So yeah,
expect you to work
but
6 hours a day in exchange for
but
a
like I
meal,
said, for me,
your
if I
own
had to stay with a
room, and
host, it would be
sometimes
like
other
maximum 3
benefits
days.
such as
Maximum
internet
3
use,
days. I'm
horse
even like
riding,
pushing it. I'm pushing
kayaking,
it.
bikes,
Right.
local sightseeing,
And
etc.
then
So you can see,
the reason
guys, there are
obviously
so
why
many
sometimes it's
different
good to stay with a couch
varieties.
surfer
So
is
basically you
because
can
of the cultural
register
exchange, and they also
for
get to like give
different
you a
kinds
local
of memberships.
perspective on
So
like
just go
the
to join
country,
now,
and
then
you know
once you come to this
it's
house,
really
you can
nice
see
for cultural
this page. You can
exchange.
see whether you register as a
Help
helper
away
or
and
a
help
host.
hacks I
So
would
obviously you want to be a
do if
helper,
I was a
so click on
student,
register
or if I
as a
was like
helper.
a
So
language
over here you
exchange or
can also
culture
see that
exchange kind
the
of
different levels of
person,
membership, and there's
but
premium, and then the
I
normal
just
one,
don't
and then you
think
can
like
also take full
I'm really
advantage of
willing
HelpX
to work
if you
for
are on
food
premium.
and accommodation.
And then premium is basically 20
I'm
euros
not.
for 2 years,
But
and you can
obviously,
use
like
it
if you're
and
traveling for a
also
long
be able
time,
to
I would
read the
recommend it because
reviews.
you've got like
And
say sometimes you have to
premium
work like for 4
helpers,
hours
okay,
maximum in
whatever
a
that
day,
was, you guys
so you
can
can work
read
for
it.
4 hours,
And then the
and the rest of
helper
the day
rules, they've
like
got
you're
some
off.
rules here
And
that
that
you can
just
just
means
go
you're not
through.
actually paying
Obviously
for your
you don't want to
accommodation,
be on
you're
a
not paying for
website
food
without
during your
understanding what
entire
it's all
travel,
about. So
or
please
during
do
your
just go
entire
through
stay
all
with
of
that
this, and then
family, or
you've
during
got
that
your
stay
membership
with that hostel or
declaration, and
hotel
then
that you're
you
working
can
for.
click
So it's
on
actually good. It's
I
actually
agree
good, you
if
know.
you are over
It
18,
just
so you
depends on
should be 18.
person to
Once you
person.
come
Like
to
I
the
said, for
next
me,
page, you
it's
can
not for
then
me.
fill up your personal information,
It's not for me.
your
It's not
basic
for me. It's
details,
not for
profile
me.
details. Tell them a
Like
little bit about yourself, and obviously, guys, just think before you actually
it's just
fill
not
up
for
all
me, you
this,
guys.
because you want
So
your profile to be interesting and outstanding. I mean, if I read it,
so these are
I
the
would
4.
want
I hope
to.
you guys
I
actually
would
learned
want
something
you
from
to
this
be my
video. I hope you
helper,
guys found
right?
it
And then go right
informative,
ahead, create
and
your
I
account,
hope you
and
guys now
start
understand
searching
how you can
for the
actually
place that you want
make your
to help
accommodation
at.
cheap while you're
Right.
traveling. It
The
does
next
not
one is
have
going
to
to
be
be
a hassle,
Workaway.
guys.
So
Like
Workaway,
there's so
like
many
I
ways
said, is
to
very
kill a
similar,
cat, and
except
this
that
is
this one is
just
mostly
one of
like
it.
for
Anyways,
staying
that is
with
all for
different
today.
hosts, and
Hope
there
you
are
guys loved this
thousands and
video and learned
thousands of
something.
hosts that you can actually
And
stay with.
if you love this
So travel
video, give it a
differently,
thumbs
connect
up.
globally.
Don't forget to like,
So you can
comment,
also
share,
connect with
and
other
subscribe.
travelers.
And
There
share
is
this
an
video, you
option
guys. Share
for
it with
that,
someone
and then
that
you
might
can
actually
find your
need it. There's so
host.
many people who want to
Usually there are
travel, but
also
in their mind
countries
they're like,
written
oh, I'm not going to
there.
be able to afford that, afford
You
that,
know,
afford that.
you can
And I
see
am
volunteer
here
in a
to
small
give
farm
you
in
guys
Norway,
a
volunteer in
source.
organic test farm in
Okay.
Nepal or Indonesia,
All right.
Greece,
So
everywhere.
I'll see you guys
So
in the
click
next
join
video.
now,
You
and
guys stay
then
safe.
choose the option
Happy
that you want to
October. This
register
is
as.
my
You
favorite
want to
month
join as a
because it
couple
is
or
my
two friends, that's
birthday.
US
And
59
I
per
love my
year,
birthday.
or
I will
as a
celebrate my
single
birthday.
person, that's
There's no
US
way I'm
49
not
per
celebrating
year.
my birthday.
And then
And no
choose the
one is
one that's
killing my
most suitable for you,
vibes.
and then click join now. So
Adios.
over
See
here
you guys
you
in the
can
next
see
video.
all
Ciao.
the safety protocols that have been included in these packages, and you're basically good to go. Right. Okay guys, for some reason I could not insert this within the video, so I'm just going to add it at the end of the video. So the first thing we're going to look at is HelpX. As you can see, there's find hostels, register as a helper, etc. So once you get to the homepage of HelpX, you'll be able to basically read what it's all about. At the top you can see it's cultural exchange written in bold. So welcome to HelpX, right? And then over here you've got all the information. It's basically an online listing of hostel, organic farms, farm stays, hobby farms, lifestyle blogs, homestays, ranges, lodges, backpackers, hostels, and even sailing boats. So they invite volunteers to stay with them short term in exchange for food and accommodation. And basically it's primarily for cultural exchange and for holiday makers who would like the opportunity to stay abroad during their stay. And just some hostels may require just 2 hours per day for accommodation, or ask you to provide your own cooking, or others expect you to work 6 hours a day in exchange for a meal, your own room, and sometimes other benefits such as internet use, horse riding, kayaking, bikes, local sightseeing, etc. So you can see, you guys, there are so many different varieties. So basically you can register for different kinds of memberships. So just go to join now, and then once you come to this house, you can see this page, you can see whether you register as a helper or a host. So obviously you want to be a helper, so click on register as a helper. So over here you can also see that there are different levels of membership, and there's premium and then the normal one, and then you can also take full advantage of HelpX if you are on premium. And then premium is basically 20 euros for 2 years, and you can use it and also be able to read the reviews. And premium helpers, okay, Okay. whatever that was, you guys can read it. And then the helper rules, they've got some rules here that you can just go through. Obviously you don't want to be on a website without understanding what it's all about, so please do just go through all of this. And then you've got your membership declaration, and then you can click on I agree if you are over 18, so you should be 18. Once you come to the next page, you can then fill up your personal information, your basic details, profile details, tell them a little bit about yourself. And obviously guys, just think before you actually fill up all this, because you want your profile to be interesting and outstanding. I mean, if I read it, I would want you to be my helper, right? And then go right ahead, create your account and start searching for the place that you want to help at, right? The next one is going to be Workaway. So Workaway, like I said, is very similar, except that this one is mostly like for staying with different hosts, and there are thousands and thousands of hosts that you can actually stay with. So travel differently, connect globally, so you can also connect with other travelers. There is an option for that, and then you can find your host. Usually there are also countries written there. You can see volunteer on a small farm in Norway, volunteer an organic test farm in Nepal or Indonesia, Greece, everywhere. So click join now and then choose the option that you want to register as. We want to join as a couple or two friends, that's US $59 per year, or as a single person, that's US $49 per year. And then choose the one that's most suitable for you and then click join now. So over here you can see all the safety protocols that have been included in these packages, and you're basically good to go, right?